When you're standing in line waiting for something, it can sometimes feel like you're waiting forever. And we don't mean those times when the wait is actually really long. Like waiting for your food at a restaurant or to get on a roller coaster. We read talking about how sometimes even a wait that only feels a little bit long can drag on indefinitely. So why does this happen? Why does waiting feel longer than it is? Well, here are just a few of the reasons why. No, unoccupied time feels shorter. Have you ever noticed that the time seems to fly by when you're busy doing something? But then when you're just sitting around waiting for something to happen, the clock seems to slow down to a crawl. Well, there's a reason for this. According to research, time seems to pass more quickly when we refocus on a task than when we just relaxing and letting time pass. This is because our brains are constantly trying to make sense of the world around us. And when we're busy, there's a lot going on that requires our attention. On the other hand, when we're just relaxing, there's not much to pay attention to. And so, our brains start to wander. When we're focused, our minds are fully engaged in the task at hand. This means that there's less opportunity for our thoughts to wander and for us to start daydreaming. Daydreaming is a common way for our minds to escape from the present moment. When we're bored or have nothing else to focus on, our brains will often start to wander and daydream. However, when we're busy, there's simply no time for this. Our minds are too focused on the task at hand. Researchers peg this phenomenon as something called attention demandingness. When we're doing something that requires a lot of attention, like driving or having a conversation, time seems to pass more quickly because our brains are too busy processing all of the information around us to keep track of time. In contrast, when we're in a boring situation where we don't have much to do, like waiting in a queue, our brains start to wander and daydream, which makes the time seem to pass more slowly. No. 2. Uncertain waits feel longer. We've probably all experienced this before. You're waiting for something to happen, but you don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe you're waiting for a bus, but there's no timetable, or maybe you're waiting for a friend who's running late. Whatever the case may be, you know that you have to wait, but you don't know how long you'll be waiting for. And this uncertainty can make the wait feel endless. The human mind is naturally curious. We want to know what's going to happen next when we don't have all the information we need. Our minds will often fill in the blanks, often with the worst possible scenario. For example, if you're waiting for a friend who's running late, your mind might start to imagine all sorts of terrible things that could have happened to them. They could have gotten into an accident. They could be lying somewhere hurt and helpless, or maybe they just don't like you anymore and they decided not to tell you. These thoughts might seem silly, but they're all too common when we're left waiting without answers. According to research, this is because uncertainty activates the same regions of our brain that are activated when we experience physical pain. That's why, when we're left waiting, we often feel a sense of dread or anxiety. Uncertainty also makes the wait feel longer because it prevents us from planning. When we know how long we'll have to wait, we can make plans to make the wait more bearable. For example, if we know that we'll have to wait for 30 minutes, we might bring a book to read or put on a podcast. But when the wait is uncertain, we can't do anything to prepare ourselves. We're at the mercy of the situation, and that can be frustrating. No. 3. Unfair waits feel longer. Have you ever been stuck behind someone who seems to be moving really slowly in a queue? Maybe they're taking their sweet time at the counter, or maybe they're just indecisive about what they want. When you're in a hurry, this can be incredibly frustrating. And it's not uncommon to find yourself getting angry or resentful. But according to research, this is totally normal. In fact, studies show that people tend to experience other people's slowness as more frustrating than their own slowness. This is likely because when we're in a hurry, we feel like we don't have time to waste. We want things to move quickly so that we can get on with our day. But when we see someone else wasting time, it seems like they're deliberately slowing things down, and that can make us feel powerless. There's also a psychological phenomenon known as the frustration attraction effect. Basically, when we see someone else struggling or experiencing frustration, we're naturally drawn to them. This is because it reminds us of times when we've struggled ourselves, and it evokes feelings of empathy and concern. As a result, we might find ourselves spending more time than we intended watching someone else struggle, even if it's not in our best interest to do so. And no? 4. Solo waits feel longer. If you've ever waited in line or for something to happen, and you were with a group of friends or family, you might have noticed that the time seemed to go by faster than when you were alone. This is likely due to a number of factors. When we're with other people, we're able to socialize and interact, which can help to take our minds off of the wait. Additionally, when we're in a group, we have someone to talk to, which can make the wait feel shorter than when we're alone. Research has also shown that people tend to experience time differently depending on whether or not they re-alone. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who were alone tended to perceive time as passing more slowly than people who were with other people. The researchers believe that this is because when we're alone, we have more time to reflect on the passage of time. For example, we might start to think about how long we've been waiting, or how much longer we have to wait. On the other hand, when we're with other people, we're less likely to focus on the passage of time. Instead, we're focused on our interactions with others. Another theory is that when we're alone, we're more likely to get bored. And boredom is associated with a slower perception of time. When we're with other people, we're more likely to be engaged and entertained, which makes the time go by faster. So if you're ever feeling like the wait is taking forever, try chatting with a friend or loved one. It might help make the time go by a little bit faster. Now, as for how long different waits feel, well, that depends on a lot of factors. For example, a wait of up to 10 minutes doesn't feel that long, especially if you're distracted or have something to do. But a wait of 30 minutes or more can feel really long, especially if you're not doing anything. Of course, these are just averages. Some people may feel like a 5-minute wait is taking forever, while others may feel like they can wait an hour without batting an eye. Ultimately, how long a wait feels is subjective and depends on the individual. That said, there are some situations where a wait may feel longer than others. For example, when we're waiting in line for something that we really want, like a popular ride at an amusement park, we may feel like the wait is taking forever. On the other hand, when we're waiting in line for something that we don't really want, like the DMV, the wait may go by faster. It's all about perspective. So the next time you find yourself waiting for something, ask yourself, is the wait really as long as it feels, or is it all in your head? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. And as always, thanks for watching.